Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? It's STORMYBMAN, and I am live and on the move. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. We are en route to the grind this morning, and I just had to react, have a rebuttal to something that I saw just as I was preparing for my day. Salute to Stephen L. the Mac, the deputy. What's going on with you? Grand risings to you, brother. Listen, I just watched a video with the two Toms, huh? Yeah, that's Sean Shittail and Radio Raccoon, huh? Yeah, I just finished watching these two numbskulls give boxing talk and conversation. It was Jaron Ennis's one-round destruction of Uisma Lima. And as they were talking about Jaron's performance, they were trying to state that the next thing for him should not necessarily be Virgil Ortiz, who happens to be a rival of his. Shogun 76, what's good with you, brother? Good morning. Grand risings to you. It shouldn't be any of the 154 pounders. They are stressing and pressing that Terrence Crawford should give Boots an opportunity at 160. Terrence Crawford doesn't even hold the title at 160. He is at 168. Jaron Ennis doesn't even hold a title at 154 and has yet to face a title holder at that weight class that he just moved up from, avoiding all of the talent that was at 147 that could have secured and ensured his position as a unified / possible undisputed champion. Oh my goodness, people. There are so many talking points on this, and I'm not going to get through them all. But then they go on to say that Crawford's next fight is not going to be $100 million. Even if he fought Ennis, it's not a $100 million fight. These are the same people who anoint others and give them par gras for anything that they do and accomplish, even when it's nowhere near as significant as what Bud has achieved. If Bud Crawford decides to continue on with his career, his next fight should be a $100 million bout. The man has been pound for pound the best fighter in the world, with all of these numbskulls putting other fighters in front of him. Some of them have fallen so mightily, they're not even fighting anymore. And he's still doing it at the age of 38 because his birthday came a couple of weeks after the fight with Canelo, or a few days after the fight with Canelo, actually. No one is doing what he's done. And then also, to make more insult added to the injury, these numbskulls are saying these type of tropes, and because they have influence, their talking points become the talking points of the public because they have these platforms. So when you're saying that Bud Crawford next fight shouldn't be $100 million, you're being quite insulting to a man who has toiled 20 years in this sport and is finally receive not only his just due as far as his merit in the ring, but overall acknowledgement by the public, because people are starting to see, oh, this guy is really good. Oh, he's really been around. There have been people who don't even know the man, but are learning the man. Where was that type of intensity toward demanding Canelo go ahead and face David Benavidez? When he was giving you fluff and puff, talking about, I represent Mexico, I'm not fighting Mexican fighters. After swooping in and scooping up a title that was stripped away from Benavidez, and the WBC making Benavidez fight several title eliminators for the right to be in contention to get right back at the title, and Canelo never looked his way. Where was that type of concern for Canelo and saying Canelo should do the right thing and give Benavidez his shot? If you notice, if you reflect back upon the duration, and I think it's probably been about 5 to 6 years that Benavidez didn't get that shot against Canelo, they never once held Canelo accountable. They never once stood on principle as a collective, content creators and if you want to say voices within the sport alike, not stating what should be said because that would light the fire. But they never did that. They continued to coddle and kiss the ring of Canelo and some other parts of his anatomy, and would not allow David Benavidez the courtesy of having some support. And the first thing that they do is, with Bud's victory over Canelo, oh, he should fight Benavidez. Really? Really? And now because Ennis just fought, oh, Bud should fight Ennis. But aren't you the same fucking people when Bud was going into the challenge against Canelo for undisputed at 168 super middleweight? You're the same people that kept drumming their weight classes for a reason. The last I checked, Boots just moved to 154. Hasn't even fought for a title. He has no bargaining leverage because he didn't move up to 154 with titles in tow. He vacated because he was avoiding at 147. You see, if you continue to allow these numbskulls to paint these type of pictures and narratives of the circumstances, they become the talking points of people who actually come toward us to challenge our platforms when we're trying to maintain and uphold the integrity of the sport. You see, it's not easy to hold the discipline. It's quite difficult because sometimes you feel the pressure of the crowd around you, the press of being in a situation to go along, to get along. Well, damn it, if we be men on an island, so be it. Because I'm not going to continue to listen to and just idly sit by and endorse, because silence is consent, excuse me. Silence is consent to listen to this foolishness being spewed by these men. I called them the two Toms for a reason. They sounded so ignorant, sitting up there trying to state what Crawford needs to do. They have held Ennis to no responsibility He hasn't even faced a world titleist at 154 yet. And in fact, the guy he just faced is so far from being an elite world titleist. This is why the bout ended like it did. And the moment that he does face an elite world titleist, I can guarantee you it should not be in Philadelphia. Huh? What the hell is that? You can't have it all to yourself. You can't be one who's trying to dictate and influence with no accomplishment and merit. I've already stated, when ENNIS defeated Eimantas Stanionis, that was not the same man from 2 years before. He was not. And another man that he faced recently and defeated in a rematch of a fight where he didn't look good in either bout, Karen Chakutsian, just won over the weekend. And guess what he won? He won 2 vacant, I believe it was the WBO and the IBF Intercontinental vacant titles, which means that he having those 2 will ensure that at some point in 2026, he should get a mandatory title shot, meaning he's right back in the mix again. Karen. That says a lot, people. ENNIS could have worked toward securing a position of undisputed to carry that to 154 to ensure a world title shot in his first opportunity at 154. But no, he wanted 2 tune-ups, according to Turki Al-Sheikh. 2. Bud Crawford entered the ring at 154 against Israel Madrimov. Not his first choice. He wanted Fundora. Fundora didn't want him, and PBC didn't want him, particularly after what he had done with Errol Spence in their fight. So the leverage of becoming up to the division as the undisputed welterweight champion, Madrimov and his people negotiated for a fight that they very well knew they could possibly lose against Crawford because of his boxing abilities. But they still took the fight. But once the fight was underway, Madrimov did not perform like a champion defending his world title. Madrimov performed like a guy who was trying to survive. And how interesting that people blame Bud for not knocking him out. The objective is to win at all costs. Win. Win, baby. Just win, baby. It was Madrimov's title to lose and Madrimov's title for Bud to win. What kind of foolishness do we have here where we see that these so-called scribes, I'll refer to them as, that so-called cover the sport, but do not do it with respect. They choose who they want to show respect for and to, and they choose who not to acknowledge. Terrence Bud Crawford is a walking legend at this very instance. And they're still talking about him as if he needs to prove himself to them. 2 idiots, 2 Toms who sit up and talk behind their camera and microphones as if they know so much and they recognize and acknowledge so little. Boots Ennis is not what they're trying to make him out to be, and he'll probably never be where they're trying to place him. Think about this. They said that Crawford should come down to 160 and face him at 160. He hasn't even won a title at 154. But how about this? If you think he's so damn good, why aren't you demanding that he move to 160 and defeat one of those title holders there to give Bud something to consider? They won't even do that because they're too busy pissing on the merits of what Bud has accrued in his career. Utter freaking foolishness between these guys. And they're out here talking as if they really know something. Dumb as a box of rocks. And Hearn, he can't keep Crawford's name out of his mouth. Just as when AJ held titles, which Boots doesn't hold right now, but AJ held titles, and all Hearn would do was talk about Deontay Wilder. But he wouldn't put AJ in the ring with Wilder. He just would use Wilder's name to promote the possibilities or the ideology of AJ being a heavyweight of consideration. You see how we've seen this before? And now he's here doing it with Boots. And the angled press questions that they receive, the two of them, between Ennis and Hearn. People are treating them with kitty gloves. Dude, you are in a division that is one of the deepest divisions in the sport of boxing. And if your very next fight isn't against one of those names where people can look at and say, you know what? I'm not sure about this one. Jerron might be in trouble, or he might have a hard go. Then you're lying to the people further if you can't do that. In the meantime, Terrence Bud Crawford, with all that he has accomplished, has reserved the right for his victory lap after his accomplishments. There were so many people who had adopted the sentiment that there are weight classes for a reason, and that a good big man always beats a good little man, and blah, blah, freaking blah. He did not do anything more than what he's always done: rise to the challenge. That's what he did. And he put down one of their most coveted, supported, protected, and coddled fighters in the sport over the past decade. And he made it look easy, people. He made it look easy. So if that was easy for Bud, doesn't that mean that Bud is pretty damn good? Doesn't that mean that Bud is the best? You had youthful guys, Berlanga, Munguia. Both of them got dropped, and both of them were bigger fighters than Bud. Canelo waxed both of those guys. He didn't stop them. He hasn't had a stoppage in years. Shout out to Caleb Plant, who gave it up. But if Bud accomplished this, why they don't want to acknowledge it? Why they don't want to celebrate it? Why they don't want him to be a man who's been able to show his wares and show separation, and that there are levels to this stuff in boxing? Because they've been lying to you all. And they have to uphold the lie by any means necessary. They got to uphold the lie. They got to convince people, hell, we done told all these lies, man. We got to pile another lie on top of here. Foolishness. Has anyone else out there seen this ridiculous interview with these two numbskulls? Has anyone seen this stuff? It's ridiculous, man. And to say what Bud next purse should be less than 100 million, by the way, is what they're trying to exclaim. How do you take the pound for pound best guy, 3-division undisputed champion, and you try to tell the public that his next bout, he doesn't deserve $100 million? When Canelo was backing up the Brinks truck, cleaning out platforms like PBC and DAZN and Showtime, you guys said nothing. You actually offered nothing as far as consideration for Canelo's purses. Stay the fuck out of a real fighter's pockets. This is nothing more than blatant, racist tomfoolery by the two numbskulls, Sean Shittail and Radio Raccoon. Tom and Jerry at its finest. It says that I have about 5 people out there. If you out there and you can hear the transmission, please put a 1 in the chat, because my chat hasn't moved. The last comment, I had a grand rising greeting from Shogun 76, and my live buffered a moment ago, and I don't know if I'm still connected or whatever. So can someone please write something out there to let me know that you are receiving my signal? Anybody receiving this signal? Well, I can't tell if I'm still connected. It says I'm connected, but the chat's not moving at all. Okay, since nobody can respond to me, I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down because I got a feeling I might just be talking to myself. This is Stormy B-Man, live and on the move. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Peace.